Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devan Bhavarayathanena Tadeva Bhavayantu va Parasparam Bhavarayanta Shreya Param Avapsyata Devam Bhavayathanena Tadeva Bhavayantu va Parasparam Bhavarayanta Shreya Param Avapsyata Devam Bhavayathanena Tadeva Bhavayantu va Parasparam Bhavayanto Shreya Param Avapsyata Demigods. Bhavayata. Having pleased. Anena. By this sacrifice. Te. Those. Deva. Demigods. Bhavayantu. Will please. Ya. Va. You. Parasparam, mutually. Bhavayanta, pleasing one another. Shreya, benediction. Param, the supreme. Avapsyata, you will achieve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. Purport: the demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, light, water, and all other benedictions for maintaining the body and soul of every living entity is entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their pleasures and displeasures are dependent on the performance of yajnas by the human being. Some of the yajnas are meant to satisfy a particular demigod, but even in so doing, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yajnas as the chief beneficiary. It is stated also in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is the beneficiary of all kinds of yajnas, bhaktaram yagatapasam. Therefore, ultimate satisfaction of the yajnapati is the chief purpose of all yajnas. When these yajnas are perfectly performed, naturally the demigods in charge of the different departments of supply are pleased, and there is no scarcity in the supply of natural products. Performance of yajnas has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from material bondage. By performance of yajnas, all activities become purified, as it is stated in the Vedas. Ahara sudhau sattva sudhi, sattva sudhau druvasmati, smatip labhe sarva grantinam vipramoksa. By performance of yajna, one's edibles become sanctified, and by eating sanctified foodstuffs, one's very existence becomes purified. By the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. And when memory is sanctified, one can think of the path of liberation. And all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness, the great necessity of present-day society. Om Jnanatamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshram Malitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kutavachalam Pangum Nanghayate Grin Yat Kripataraham Vande Shigurum Ninatara Vanshakapatyubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Devacha Padithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that demigods, of course, they're devotees, but they're called sakama devotees. They have some desires, like us. So, they're not, of course, some of them are pure devotees. You know, Yamaraj, he's demigod, pure devotee. Narada Muni. Many of them are pure devotees. In India, there's a lot of people that worship the demigods to get some material benefits. And because they desire these material benefits, a lot of them are a little shy about surrender to Krishna, because they have a problem with one verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadhamam parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarvapapayo mokshayasyami vasvacha. They don't like that. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me, all free from all sense reaction, do not fear. So Krishna, he is known as Hari. He takes everything away. But they want most people they're in this material world to enjoy, so they want some material benefit. So quite often they'll worship Durga, Shiva, get some material benefits like this. But actually that's not where the real wealth is. Just like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it was asked, why is it that the followers of Lord Shiva are materially opulent, but Lord Shiva himself, he lives very simply, lives under a tree, no home. But the devotees of Vishnu or Krishna, they live very simply, but Vishnu, he lives very, very opulently. How is this? So it's explained that actually those who desire material opulence and grand sense gratification, they're not actually wealthy. That's not what the real wealth is. When Krishna shows special mercy, he takes everything away. And then they take shelter of him. And then that's where they get the real wealth. Prabhupada says in one purport that the devotees have a secret wealth in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. This is where the real wealth is, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya in the Shikshashtika, in the last chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know, there's the Shikshashtika verses, but in between those verses, there's many very nice verses, because he doesn't just say the 8 consecutively. There's other verses in between. So there's very nice one. Prema dana vinav yate daridra jivan dasi kar vitana more deha prema dana. Lord Chaitanya says, of course, playing the role of devotee, he says, if one does not have love for Krishna, then one is considered to be a daridra jivan, which means a poor soul. Oh yeah, please everyone turn off your cell phones. So therefore Lord Chaitanya goes on to say, therefore my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me in your service, and all I want as salary is love for you. This is real wealth. It's like Lord Chaitanya says there in the Shikshashtakam, na dhanam na janam na sundarim kapitang vajagadishikam imama janmani janmani shri bhavatir bhaktirati. I don't want wealth, this material wealth. What is this? Flickering wealth. I don't want followers. I don't want beautiful women. All I want is service to you, life after life. Not even liberation. I just want to serve you. So this is the real wealth. And therefore devotee, he has this real wealth. And it's also mentioned in the Vedas, worship of the demigods, Radhanam Sarvesam, Vishnu Aradhanam Tasma Paratram Tadiyanam Smarjam. It's mentioned the worship of the demigods, but higher than worship of the demigods is worship of Vishnu. And even higher than worship of Vishnu is to worship the devotees who are in relation with Krishna as servants. This is the highest worship, actually. To worship the devotees. And therefore there's this amazing pastime with Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. Ambarish, of course, he's a great devotee, just like we know there's these 9 types of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanaveda. So Ambarish was such a great devotee, he perfected all of them. So we can't imagine what a great devotee Ambarish was. So this Durvasa Muni, he thought he was an ordinary king. So when he went there and he visited, he was going to take prasad, but first he cleaned, but then it was time to break Ekadasi, so it's the exact time. So we asked the Brahmas, what should I do? Should I take? Or they said, take water, it's alright. That's breaking and not breaking, that's okay. But Durvasa Muni, when he came back, he didn't think this was right. So he decided to kill Ambarish. Actually, he pulled the hair out of his head. Big demon came out. Everybody became very scared, except for Ambarish Maharaj. That's right. No fear. Amazing, huh? Some huge, fire demon. It's like we can't imagine. Completely equipoise. So Krishna didn't like that. So what happened? Sudarsana Chakra comes. He destroyed this demon, then he started chasing Durvasa Muni. And he's chasing and chasing and chasing. And I guess he was pretty fast, Durvasa Muni, because he's getting away from him. So he's going to different demigods. He's going to Shiva, he's going to Brahma, he's going to, hey, can you help me out here? Sorry, there's nothing we can do. That's a Sudarsana Chakra. We can't deal with that. Sorry, good luck. So finally, one of them said, well, listen, your only hope is you got to go to Vishnu, because Sudarsana Chakra, they're connected, So he went to. He was actually amazing. He was able to go to Vaikuntha. This person who was just offended, totally offended, a pure devotee, he's able to go to Vaikuntha. So I think Vishnu allowed this because this whole amazing pastime. Otherwise, I'm sure Vishnu would not have allowed him to just step right into Vaikuntha. So anyway, he got there to Vaikuntha. Sudarsana still chasing him, and he goes and pays the basis. My Lord, please, can you help me? I have this weapon of yours behind me. It's very hot. Please, can you help me? Sorry, there's nothing I can do. You offended my devotee. If you offend my devotee, that's like you're hurting my heart. Prabhupada mentions this in a purport. So your only hope is you have to go back and beg for forgiveness to this devotee that you've just offended. So he said, okay, thank you. Went back to Ambarish. Dandavats.
It took a whole year.
Took a year, that's right. Took a year. I mean, Durvasa Muni must have been really going around, yeah. Quite some time, quite some distance. Yeah, there's I don't know if he went to all the demigods, but anyway, he was really trekking, he was really, I don't know if he was going, he must have been going to different universes because this, So he got back, Dandavats, to Ambarish Maharaj. And what does Ambarish Maharaj do? He's paying respects, he's offering prayers to the Sudarsana Chakra. Please spare this person. It's a little, little problem there that he has, but anyway, spare him. So many prayers, beautiful prayers that he offered to Sudarsana. And then he was, Sudarsana, he's a person, so he accepted, all right, let him go. So not only was it a year, he didn't eat for that year. He was just living off water. Durvasa Muni is famous as a mystic yogi, but Ambarish also, he had this mystic power as well. He was able to live just off of drinking water. So then he waited until he fed Durvasa Muni. Such a host. I can't imagine. I mean, that's a real host. He had even left. After Ambarish had been completely offended, he left, trying to save his life. And Ambarish Maharaj is still thinking, well, he's my guest. He'll probably be back. He must have been, with his mystic ability, he must have figured out he's going to be back, So he waited for a year. So this is interesting. But in this amazing pastime, Lord Vishnu said, Sadhavo Hridayam Mayam, Sadhavo Hridayam Tvaham. The devotee is within my heart, and I am within the heart of the devotee. The devotee doesn't know anyone but me, and I do not know anyone but the devotee. So if we offend a devotee, this is called the hati mata offense. It's like we have nice gardens around here, flowers for the deities. So some elephant comes and tramples, it's finished. So if we offend great devotees, it's like our creeper is like practically finished. So we have to be so careful. Therefore, there's this famous verse, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahistana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadhari. If we're thinking like this, if we're feeling very low and insignificant, then we'll never have any inclination to offend anyone, because we're lower than everybody else. It's when we think that we're important, that we're better than someone else, that's when the danger comes, that we're offensive to others. So it's very important that we keep this humility. This is the crown jewel of a devotee. This humility is very, very important. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains who is a devotee. Masthita madgata prana bodhyanta parasram katyantas chimambicham tushanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my devotees, they dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me. They derive great bliss and satisfaction enlivening one another and conversing about me. So this is a devotee. Their thoughts dwell in me. They're always thinking of me, my name, my form, my pastimes, my qualities. So many wonderful qualities of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna. Like here, we're in Vrindavan. So many amazing pastimes took place here, and they're still taking place for those who have the vision. Nitya Siddha, these are Nitya Leela, eternally going on here. Sometimes it may be hard to see, the sewage and the monkeys jumping around, and just so much chaos, and the cars honking. But somehow this is still a transcendental abode where Krishna is performing his amazing pastimes. So attractive. Krishna is so attractive. It's described that there's 8 parts of Krishna's body that resemble a lotus flower. Let's see if you can get them. 8. 8 of them, you know? Little test. Eyes. 2 lotus eyes, yes. 2 lotus feet, that's right. Huh? Hands, that's right. That's 6. Yes. No, navel already said. That's 7. Huh? You're getting warm. Really warm. Huh? Yeah. The face.
The feet only count as well.
No, that's 2. The feet, 2 feet. So that's 8. So imagine how beautiful Krishna is, you know? Resembling lotus flowers. You can't imagine how attractive. Actually, it's described, I was just reading today, that devotees that are looking at the form of Krishna, it's like a festival for their eyes. It's a festival for the eyes to see the form of Krishna. And therefore devotees, when they come to the temple, everybody wants to see Krishna. So beautiful. Deities here are so attractive. So it's a festival for the eyes. And it's also mentioned that for those who hear the flute of Krishna, it's a festival for the ears to hear the transcendental flute playing of Krishna. Just like here, some places, I don't know if they have, in the West they have music festivals. Big music festivals, 50,000, 60,000 people show up. But they're all intoxicated, completely in the mode of ignorance. So this is the real music festival in the spiritual world, Krishna playing the flute. Sometimes when I'm distributing books, I show them pictures of Krishna, and I ask them, have you ever heard of Krishna? Yes, yes, I've heard of Krishna. It's amazing how many people have heard of Krishna. Prabhupada Shakti. So then I tell you, see how he's playing that flute? He's the best playing the flute. He jams on the flute. He's the best. So Krishna is the original musician, the best. And it's described that when Varaha left after killing Hiranyaksha, it's described in the Bhagavatam that he went back to the spiritual world where there is a constant festival. It's mentioned specifically like that. He went back to the spiritual world where there's a constant festival. We all like festivals, just like we have this Mayapur Vrindavan festival. So many devotees, thousands of devotees come. It's so nice to see devotees and the kirtans and the prasadam. And it's so nice to have these festivals. But we're not always at festivals. Right? We have, Gaurapanim festival, we have Janmashtami festival, Nrsimha Chaturdasi. There's Kartik. Here you have Kartik, big festival here. But sometimes when you're chanting in the kirtan, you get a little tired, right? Or your throat goes hoarse. I remember that happened to me. The first 3 days I was at the temple, my throat went bad because I was shouting, chanting so loud. But you go to this festival in the spiritual world, your legs never get tired. You never get a sore throat. Yeah. No problem. Vaikuntha, you could dance as long as you like. Yeah. Just carry on. You never get it. You don't have to buy any throat lozenges in the spiritual world. Your throat goes bad. Yeah. No anxiety. Constant festival. So this is what we have to look forward to in the spiritual world. But we have to do some tapasya here, get purified. So this is good. This sacrifice, this yajna, just like it's stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Socham Evacha Brahmacharyam Mahimsa Cha Sarira Tapa Uchyate. These are the 5 austerities of the body. First one is we pay obeisances to the superiors. And who is the most superior? Krishna. Yes, we pay obeisances. I remember when I was a young boy, about 12 years old, I was a little arrogant. So I made a vow, I'll never bow down to anybody. Little puffed up little kid I was, But then Krishna humbled me after so many years in the material world, and I bowed down enthusiastically. Understanding this material world, this is not a nice place. And to get out of this material world, we have to become humble. We have to worship. We have to worship Krishna. Deva Dvija Guru. So we have to worship the Guru, the superiors, saintly devotees. Pujanam Saucham, we got to be clean. Not just in cleaning the body, but we're trying to cleanse the heart. Renovating, we're renovating the heart. That's what this process is about. Just like in America when they refurbish a building, they call it gutting the building. Taking everything out, taking it all out, and then putting the new in. I was reading one purport, Prabhupada said, most people in this world are attracted to this hatha yoga. If they're attracted to any yoga, this is what they're attracted to, get slim and get in good shape materially. But he said the real yoga system is to remove all the trash from the heart and put Krishna there. This is the real yoga system. We want to fill our hearts, fill our minds with Krishna. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, we're clearing the mirror of the heart, clearing this mind. And this is the most difficult, the greatest challenge that any of us will have will be to become pure. That is our greatest challenge. But it's possible. It's a good challenge. Because if we're not engaged in trying to become purified, then what is the other option? To become more impure. Right? You're going to go either way. Either we're going to endeavor to become purified, or like some devotees come. They come, they spend some time, and then they leave, and then again they become covered. Prabhupada said, my disciples, they have 2 diseases. One is they like to change things. And I must say that the GBC is doing a good job, because there's so many things coming in and they're sticking to what Prabhupada has set up. Yeah. Because if we allow this change and that change and that change and that change and that change, then in another 100 years, what happened to what Prabhupada established, right? So to keep what Prabhupada set up, that's a challenge. Prabhupada said we have our fertile brains. So many things coming up in our fertile brains, you know. Do this and do that. He said, I set up everything nicely, just follow. Don't change things with your fertile brain. Changing things. And the other one, my disciples are not enough afraid of Maya. We should have a firm fear of Maya. But then Krishna says in the Gita, Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mam pashata bhavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavam agata. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in many persons in the past have become purified by knowledge in Him. They have come to me. So here Krishna is saying they're free of fear. They're free of attachment. But no, there's good fear. There's good fear. We fear Maya. We should have a very firm fear of Maya, because Maya is heavy. She's very powerful representative of Krishna. I was once asked a question on book distribution. Some person came up to me and he said, why is it that Maya gives us so many tests, makes it so difficult for us, but she's a devotee? I thought, wow, good question. Anybody know? Microphone.
She's a personality who makes sure that no riffraff gets into the spiritual sky.
Very good. Prabhupada said that. She makes sure only pure devotees go there. You want to say something, Mataji? No? Huh?
Actually, she wants to purify us, so she tests us, she gives us kicks, so
That's
that just
true.
as gold, when gold actually is heated, so all the iron, copper, nickel particles get down, and the gold is in its pure form. So only in pure form we can actually approach Sri Krishna.
Also, very good answer. And another nice example is it's just like in school. When we were young, we were given so many tests. And as we got older, the tests got more and more difficult. Right? Now, it's not out of enmity that the teachers were giving us harder and harder tests. Why were they getting harder and harder? So that we could become more knowledgeable of the particular subject. Right? So it's for our benefit. And they get harder and harder and harder and harder. And if you go all the way up to the PhD, that's the toughest. So we're shooting for the PhD. We're trying to go for the highest, right? Which is love of Krishna. Right? So to achieve that highest goal, there's going to be many tests. And we got to pass all of them. So just like the person who goes to the PhD, he's very diligently studying his books, right? So they can continue on and on and on and on and keep going right up to the PhD. So we also have to very diligently study Prabhupada's books. don't know if I heard this here or in Mayapur. Prabhupada said he had one complaint about his disciples, and that was they didn't study his books enough. Did we hear that here? I think we heard that here, yeah. So we have to study these books. These are treasures. These books aren't ink and paper. They're diamond and gold. Very, very valuable. And therefore Prabhupada says in one purport, he says, the pure devotee is compared to gold. If you have a gold ring, it's very beautiful. And Krishna, he is compared to a diamond. You put that diamond, that beautiful diamond, in that gold ring, it's very attractive. So this is the treasure that we have in these books. So we can't even come close to understanding how fortunate we are to have these treasures. So we have to take advantage of them. And Prabhupada says in one purport that if you read Srimad Bhagavatam with rapt attention, you can see Krishna on every page. Powerful statement there. If we hear with rapt attention, we can see Krishna on every page. He's there. We just have to hear with rapt attention. Then he goes on to say, but to hear with rapt attention, one has to be pure in mind. But to be pure in mind, we have to be pure in action. Right? If we're not pure in action, how can we be pure in mind? Not possible. So what does it mean to be pure in action? It means to be pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. It's interesting that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is dependent on these things. So most people, when they eat, they just chow down. Right? But this is actually seva, it's prasad seva. We're honoring prasadam, it's Krishna. It's like Prabhupada, 95% of the time, Shruti Kirti told me, Prabhupada would eat alone. Sometimes devotees would even try to get in there to, don't be shy, come on in. Sometimes devotees would try to get in there with Prabhupada while he's eating, just to be with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would, in a very gentle way, let him know that I'm doing something here, don't bother now. And he would honor prasadam by himself. It was seva. It was honoring prasadam. And sleeping. When Prabhupada would take rest, before he would take rest, he would tell his servant, now I'm going to waste time. Now how many of us think like that before we take rest? Prabhupada is such an amazing personality. And therefore he says in one purport, he says the pure devotee does not have a material body because of his being surcharged with the spiritual current of Krishna's identical interest. This is the pure devotee. His interest is in spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. This is his interest. And he wrote one letter. He said, my first instruction to all my disciples is that they help me in spreading this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Is that they help me in spreading this Krishna consciousness all over the world. And he went on to say that if you help me in this business, then you will very quickly see Maya will not be there in your life. And he gave the example just like when the sun rises, the darkness is dissipated. So when the light comes, darkness is dissipated. And so these books, huh? Yeah. Yes. So Krishna is compared to this light and Maya is compared to darkness. And wherever there is this light of Krishna consciousness, there is no darkness of ignorance. So the more we hear and chant, the more we'll get purified from this material existence. So, eating, sleeping, mating. Of course, mating is there for spreading, for raising Krishna conscious children, and defense. So we have to defend our creeper. So much, it's a very fragile creeper. So we have to guard it very carefully from all sides. And that guard is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the process in this age for protecting our creeper of devotional service and advancing in Krishna consciousness. So, a few minutes left. Yes? Okay, we just need a microphone just now coming.
You mentioned...
Is it on?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the...
Oh, the microphone's not working. Is it working? No, it's not working. It's not connected properly. There you go. Give it a little, give it a little hit.
You mentioned for devotees to see Krishna is a festival for the eyes, ears. So for the devotee to see another, devotees, like I'm a book distributor. So for me to see a book distributor like yourself is the festival for the heart. As soon as I saw you, it was a real festival for me, and I literally had tears in my eyes. I said, I am seeing such a pure devotee over here. So my question is that I want to be a devotee. I want to be a book distributor all my life, till the end of my life. How is it possible that I can be a...
Don't stop distributing books. Very simple.
But still there are many impediments in book distribution.
So many impediments on our path to pure devotional service, so we have to cross those, right? So you got to cross whatever impediments are there to distribute books. We have to cross them.
Where do you think the impediment or the hurdle would come? Maximum, like the biggest hurdle, where do you think would come actually? And people might just stop doing book distribution. Where do you think?
The biggest hurdle? Well, our mind.
Okay.
Mind is a problem. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, the mind is a non-devotee. So don't trust it. Now, we all know we're not supposed to associate with non-devotees. We're walking around with a non-devotee. What to do? Well, we got to turn it into a devotee. Our mind is now in the Bhakta program. We're trying to make it a devotee. And the best way to make the mind a devotee is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. But the mind is a non-devotee. It doesn't want to chant. And that's why quite often you'll see, while you're chanting, the mind is going off this way and that way and every other way, and it's unbelievable where the mind goes sometimes, right? Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamasstiram tatastato nyamnyaitat atmanyeva samyat. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must bring it back under the control of the self. Now Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he had a very nice program for bringing the mind back to the mantra when we're chanting. If he found that he was inattentive, he would stop and he would back up a beat or two, just to check the mind. You've gone off, now come on, let's go back. Let's chant again. That's good practice for the mind. It's good training for the mind. Because as we know, if we don't stop it, it just keeps going, Just keeps going. From this thing to that thing. I mean, I've had experience where I've chanted a whole round and I didn't hear one mantra. It's just, you ever had that experience?
Yes.
It's just going all over the place. Now, what do you do that for? What do you go? Come on, let's chant. So he had a nice program. You back up a beat or two to check it.
Psychologically.
Yeah, it has. It's training. We're trying to train the mind to think of Krishna. But the mind is a non-devotee. So now we've got to preach to the mind. All right, mind, this is the new program. If you don't chant attentively, we're going to chant more. Okay? Now, if you want to chant more, all right, be attentive. All right. We'll listen now. We'll listen. So we got to preach to the mind and control the mind and fix it on this mantra and hear attentively. You have to see this process is all about attention. It's all about attention. We have to hear Prabhupada's books with attention. And this is nectar. These books are nectar. Just like H.G.Vijay Prabhu, he has a program called the CHAD program. Anybody here know what the CHAD program is? What's the CHAD? Anybody know?
1 chapter a day.
1 chapter a day. Chapter a day keeps Maya away. So he's a very, very good friend of mine. So he got me on this also. So for the past year I've been chanting the chapter a day. And it's so nice. Every day. Chant the chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Well, it depends on how much time you have. I don't have so much time, so I chant the English, or I read the English translation. And then I have another bookmark where I read the purports also, because if you don't read the purports, Prabhupada won't be pleased, nor will Krishna, because that's actually each sentence in Prabhupada's purports is also like a verse, because there's so much realization in those purports. So those are also Shastra. Whatever comes from Prabhupada's transcendental mind is also Shastra. So we can't neglect the purport. But I read a few verses and purports a day, and then the translation. And as we all know, Krishna's words are ever fresh. They never get old. And I'm experiencing that because it's just getting nicer and nicer every day, reading the Bhagavad Gita. It's just... And Vaisheshkavu, if any of you know Vaisheshkavu, he's like one of the most dynamic, fired up devotees on this planet. In book distribution, he's just absorbed in Prabhupada's books. You know, just like Prabhupada said, he said, you should know my books like the lawyers know their law books. And those guys really know their law books, you know, but they want to make money out there. So we should also know Prabhupada's books so that we can get the wealth of this knowledge. And if we can just continue on hearing and chanting with attention, then actually Krishna says, Shrimbatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hriyantasto shabadrani virinoti suritsatam. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the super soul in the hearts of all living entities, and the benefactor, the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who simply relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. So this is a powerful statement. Just by hearing these words and relishing them, Krishna cleanses our heart. That's mercy, yeah? So that's mercy. Yeah. And this mercy, it's always being offered to us. Another place in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that this current, this spiritual current, is always being offered to the living entities. He wants us to go back to God. We just have to connect with that current, hearing and chanting, and don't get disconnected. This is the yoga. You know, each time we read these books, we're getting more of this current, this spiritual current. Yeah. Then Prabhupada, he's filled with this current, and whoever he touched, you know, just like if you touch one of these, a hot wire, an electrical wire, you touch it, and you get jolted, you get shocked, and someone touches that, he gets jolted, and he can go 1,000 times. So that's what's happened. Prabhupada is connected. He's feeling this current, this spiritual current coming from Krishna. And each time we give a book out, people are also getting this, they're touching this current. Oh, they're getting this current, this spiritual current. One devotee was distributing books, and he handed it to someone, and the guy felt it, and he said, man, this book is powerful. And the devotee said, sure is, you're holding God in your hands there. Oh, okay, that's why, okay. So these words are powerful. So we should hear with attention. Okay? Thank you. Okay, I think we're over the time. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.